Here with you some fishing rods that I use now and some that I've used in the past. I started fishing when I was 5 years old, so that would be 1952, and the very first rod I used was a tank aerial. All the young lads had tank aerials in those days, and that's where I picked up my ideas of make, do and mend, I guess. But while I used a tank aerial, my dad had this beautiful rod that I absolutely coveted. It was two sections of Spanish reed with a green heart top. Green heart top is nice and light and flexible, and the bottom two sections quite stiff. I really envied him this rod, and eventually I inherited it when he passed on, but I've never actually used it in anger. But I did eventually save enough money from doing a paper round to buy my very first rod, which was a fiberglass rod, very whippy, solid fiberglass, and that's still been in good stead for a good number of years. I caught a lot of fish on that and absolutely loved it. But then by about the age of 11 I got into carp fishing. Well, we called it carp fishing. Most of the carp we caught were crucians, but we did catch some real carp, as I say. And if we caught one of 10 pounds, that was a monster. I mean, a 10 pound carp in those days was something to celebrate. Nowadays you wouldn't even stop for a photograph, but there we go. And I invested in a Mark IV carp rod, split cane, two-piece, 10 foot, and I still use this rod today. It's useless for casting, it's a little bit heavy, but when you get a big fish on and you feel the corks bending under the power of the fish in your hand, that's a really nice fish. It's a lovely rod to play a fish on. So that's the Mark IV carp rod, my pride and joy. Eventually I left college and started work, and I had my own rod designed. I was travelling the world making maps of harbours and rivers, things like that, so those are flogging on the sea or big rivers. And I wanted a rod that I could take everywhere with me, so I designed my own rod, and this is it. It comes in a piece of plastic drainage tube, and it's in 4 sections. It's based on a Ziplex blank, which was used for beach fishing in those days, so it's quite a powerful rod. And it's called a #1 Traveller, and it was made for me by Martin Ashby of Going Brothers in Southend-on-Sea in, it says here, April '83, a long time ago. And that has caught me a huge number of very large fish. The fish I've had on here: hammerhead sharks, well into 3 figures, stingray, tarpon, tuna, you name it, I've caught it. Well, no, not exactly, but a lot of fish. And I still use this today, but today I use it for casting out my Spom, or my Spom lookalike, the Explode. So that's still going strong. All these years later, 82, 92, 30 years, something like that. The rod I use today, my bread and butter carp rod, I guess you'd call it, is just a standard, it's called a Fox Carp Warrior, a budget rod, and the reel is a budget reel, a Shimano 6000 bait runner, but that does me for any fish I'm liable to catch. A couple of things on here. It's marked off in half-metre sections so I can quickly get the idea of the size of a fish. My rod tip protectors are just bits of bicycle inner tube. There's reflective tape at both ends for use at night. The reel is also marked up. This red tape there lets me know whether my bait burners are engaged or not. If I can see the red, that means danger. That means my bait runner's not set, that means okay to go. And also on the spool I've got alternating reflective and day glow pieces of tape, so I can quickly spot when the reel's turning. If it's just pure black, you don't really see that your reel's spinning round, but with those on, at any distance, you can immediately grab the rod that's got a take. So that's my basic rod. But another rod I do like to use a lot, much smaller and simpler, is a telescopic rod. Get at it. This is no name on it. It's a 2.5 pound test curve 8-foot telescopic rod. I know English people don't like telescopic rods, but they're quite in favour on the continent. And it's only 8 foot long, so it's good for getting in amongst trees. A lot of the lakes, some of the lakes I fish, a lot of overhanging trees, and rather than chop down all the trees so I can cast, I can use the bait boat, a very short rod, under the tree cover, and fish for carp that way. So that's really a nice little rod, very lightweight as well, and portable, interportable. My next rod, or the final rod I want to show you, is a fairly recent acquisition. This is another good all-rounder, bought in China on the internet. The rod cost €18, the reel cost €12, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. Total budget stuff. It's even a bait runner, and I carry this around in my car everywhere I go, so if I see a little spot I can go fishing, quickly nip it in, and that will handle any fish I'm liable to hook. I've had several fish up to carp, up to 20 pound on this already. It had a really big one to test it, but I'm sure it could handle it. And it sold as a sea fishing spinning reel for what reason I have no idea. But it's 12 foot long, it's got quite a lot of sections and very well made. So that's my current pride and joy. That's where I'm up to rod